we're going to work on the nomenclature for parts of a square. Let's put that so hopefully you can all see. So the first part that I'm going to talk about, I know there's a shine, is this one. So here we see this yellow colored part. This is the surface, the part enclosed by the sides. So it's the part of the plane enclosed by the four sides. This is the surface. These red lines show us the sides. So a square we know has four equal sides. In this one, the bottom line here, this bottom line or side is red. We're highlighting that that is the base of the square. This one has black and red, so it's showing us the perimeter, the measure of all the four sides. We measure them and add them together, and the sum of the measures of the four sides makes the perimeter. In this picture, the red parts are highlighting the angles. We know a square has four right angles. In this one, we see one corner is red. You could pick any. This is called a vertex. A square has four vertices, so you can pick which one you would like to color. In this picture, we see there's a line going from the base all the way up till it touches the opposite side. It forms right angles with the base here and here. It's a perpendicular line. We call it the altitude. In this card, we see a red line going from one vertex to the opposite one. We call this a diagonal. So we're going to label our cards. This card says surface. So the surface comes from French sur, which means above, and face, which means face. This one says sides. It comes from Old English. Side. Our next word says base, and we can see here GK. It comes from Greek. It comes from the Greek word basis or base. Now we have perimeter. Perimeter comes from Greek, peri meaning around and metron meaning to measure. Perimeter, the measure all around the outside. Our next card says angle. We see here L for Latin. That comes from the Latin word angulus, which means an angle. And I'm going to place it down here. Now we have vertex. Again, we see L for Latin. That one comes from the Latin word vertere, to turn. Now we're going to match the altitude, and another L for Latin. Altitude comes from the Latin word altus, which means high. And our last label is diagonal. So diagonal comes from Greek. It means a cross. Dia means across and gonia means angle. So a cross from one angle to the other. So we're going to read our cards and see if we can match them. The part of the plane limited by the sides of a square. The part of the plane, remember the flat plane. This this one is going to go with surface. Let's look at this one. So the line segments which enclose the space of a plane are called the sides. This one says any one side on which the square rests is called, or considered, its base. The blank of the square is the sum of all four sides. This one is perimeter. The angles of the square is the part of the plane formed by the sides, two sides, and a vertex. The two sides have a common endpoint or vertex. We call that one the angle. The part of a square where two sides come together is called a vertex. And each quadrilateral, including parallelograms and rectangles, they all have four vertices. The blank of a square is the perpendicular distance between the base and the opposite side. This one is the altitude. And then this one here says that each of the two line segments which joins two opposite vertices and bisects the square is called a diagonal. So the word bisect, we know that the prefix bi means two, and sect comes from secare, to cut. It's the line that cuts the square in two. So these are the nomenclature cards for the parts of the square. So I'm going to recommend that you practice these. You make your own pictures and create your own charts or make a nice booklet. Bye-bye.